Alright, thanks for smashing that link. So I am psyched for today's video, and shouts out to my man Dayton Hamill for the inspiration behind today's video. When I saw Dayton's people of the ski area, that hit so hard and so much I wanted to add. What better than to make one of my own based off of my many seasons of ski mountain experience. And man, have the people of the mountain have changed in 4+ decades that I've been riding chairlifts. I've taken and narrowed down the people types to 27 distinct people types. Now, there'll be a couple honorable mentions I'll mention later in the video that I really debated putting in here, but they're such rarities, I held them out. So first, I want to talk about the heart of the mountain. All the skier types make up the mountain, and all the types are very important for overall mountain health. Just like any biotype in nature, a ski mountain has to have a great diversity of its mountain people. If it doesn't have that diversity in its biotype, it's going to die. It's not going to survive. I created my own cycle of shred wheel that you can see here. Everyone that comes to the ski area is on the cycle of shred, but not everyone will complete the cycle of shred for a very long time. When the first two types of people that you would have had in this video would be skiers and snowboarders. But that's not the case anymore. I'm happy to say that we are all riders. We are enjoying the same love, the same passion, the same features, the same runs, the same chairlifts. So just like Dayton's video, I was inspired by his alignment chart. So here's my alignment chart. I've gone a little deeper, a little more straight up D&D with it, and you will see how the rider types fit into this. Okay, so I've narrowed it down to 27 distinct types of people that you will see at pretty much every ski area. In alphabetical order, starting with the annoying local. Okay, so the salty local. No one likes the salty local. This is typically the guy too, by the way, that's the you should have been here the other day when it was better kind of guy on the chairlift. Like that guy is typically the salty local. Evil. But they're lawful evil because they're not gonna break any rules. This is a term Dayton had in his video that I absolutely loved. The Backcountry Sigma. Dude, that is so cool. I mean, Sigma. I mean, it hits hard, right? Like, that is a perfect description of what the backcountry rider is. However, I don't believe they're commonly sighted at all at a ski resort. Unless you can see the skin track from the lift line, you probably won't see a Backcountry Sigma at your resort. They have a sense of belonging in the mountains. They have a sense of belonging in the snow and one with the mountains. A Backcountry Sigma is a true neutral because they would most likely stop to help other riders. They're gonna bust out that avalanche gear in a flash if it's needed. If they're on the mountain and you needed help, they would help you. But at the same time, they're going to do what suits their needs by skinning up the skin track and getting to that fresh, untracked POW that you can't get to. Another Dayton term that I loved, and this was the beer baron or the shooter sharer. This guy, he's willing to pack the load to ensure no one goes thirsty. I almost considered putting backpackers as a people of the ski area. But again, backpackers like, say, like a bar bum could be in throughout all these different people types. Beer baron, I placed as chaotic good because they're good. You want a beer baron in your crew. They're fun. They bring the stoke factor, but they can be a little chaotic. They're also going to be the pub bum that may want to ski a pretty early in the day. The Carve Dad is definitely the back to basics fundamentalist. Most Carve Dads are going to be powder hounds. Like, they're going to want to carve powder. That's my thing. I feel I'm coming to the Carve Dad side of my shred cycle in that I just want to make turns in POW. Like here, for example, I am in the Three Bears Bowl at Bridger Bowl. True neutral in the sense that they are going to help others. They're not going to break rules. They're most likely going to follow the laws, but they are going to want to get that freshies. They're going to want to get the groomers. They're going to want to do what suits them best and put their needs first. but they will consider the needs of others on the mountain. So the most talked about type, like when I was researching for this video, skier types, this was like the talked about type, and the gaper, the Jerry. We were all gapers at one time, unfortunately, because everybody had to learn. I'm kind of going for a gaper look here, even a little bit with this silly hat and things like that. Jerrys are just don't have an understanding. They're learning. They think they're in the right. They think they got it. Fortunately, Dayton was right in that Jerry versus Jerry violence is a very real thing. They tend to crash into each other. Jerrys love to film themselves crashing, and it's important that they crash into other Jerrys with GoPros so that the footage can get on YouTube, and it's epic. The Gaper Jerry is a neutral evil on the alignment chart. That's the bottom line. Like, really, they don't have ill intentions. It just things tend to literally avalanche out of control for Jerrys. The only way you can skip being a Gaper and being a Jerry on the mountain, I will talk about later in this video. Because of the Jerry on Jerry violence, they are a neutral evil on our alignment chart. On to our next type, the Grom. Oh my goodness, the Groms are the future of our sport. They are so important. They are literally part of the heart of the mountain. There's no doubt about that the Grom is essential to the heart of the mountain. Showdown ski area in Montana, the oldest ski area in Montana. I went there December of this year, and I was blown away by the amount of families and youth, ski instructors, ski racing teams, just lines of Groms everywhere. It was just really cool to see. And on the side note, the lodge was just completely packed with their lodge mamas. So it's really important to get as many Groms into the sport as possible so that they can begin this cycle of shred. If they enter the sport as a Grom, they are most likely to complete the cycle of shred. Groms, good. On Dayton's video, he used the classic term. And I feel like this doesn't really describe these girls because they're not that. They just have hair strands. So, and they're cute. So I came up with my politically correct version, the hair strand hottie. Really, they're just yesterday's Groms, and they're rocking today's ski styles that are inspired from amazing female athletes. What's happening in free ride right over the last decade has been just absolutely amazing to watch. And the talent pool that's in the mix now, and what I'm seeing in the World Junior free ride, what's coming up the line in these World Junior free rides, like these young Groms that I'm seeing already this year, are just mind-boggling, their abilities and their skill sets at their age, and they're definitely going to be a sight to see. And again, very big part of the cycle of shred. How many of these kids are going to be Backcountry Sigmas, right? Like, they're all powder hounds, there's no doubt about that. There also would make up a part of the people of the mountain that I really debated putting on this list that I want to give an honorable mention to, and that's the pro rider. Like, some mountains, Mount Bachelor for example, has multiple pro riders that you may see at any time on the chairlift and see them come ripping down through those Woodward terrain parks. The terrain parks at Bachelor are out of this world, like, but they're Woodward parks, so what do you expect? The Tahoes are another place you might see pro riders, Squaw and North Star and those sort of places. They're so uncommon. They're not something you're going to see at every mountain that you go to. Like, there was no pro riders at Showdown, right? Like, I mean, that was fully a family-friendly resort full of Groms and Lodge Mamas and Carve Dads. I mean, that's, and Powder Hounds. And then we were the Powder Hounds. We were actually Weekend Warrior mode, and I'll talk about that later in this video. They rank as a neutral good because they're such a good thing to have on the mountain. They are the future of the sport. They're youth riders, typically. Most hair strand hotties rip. Like, they're in the lift lines. Like, they're not hanging out in the lodges. They're looking for POW lines, just like me. They want to ride the same stuff I'm looking to ride. They're in the trees. Yeah. They rip, they shred. They were really just yesterday's Groms. Number 8 on our list, and places pure chaotic evil on the alignment chart, is the Karen, or a male Karen I like to call Richards. Karens and Richards would also, I feel like, that's the mountain safety. You have to be a Karen to be mountain safety. Like, you're not ski patrol, you're just a Karen with a coat. I did not give them their own section in this video because I believe they're part of the Karen and Richard coalition. One that I really felt got left out of Dayton, what I really felt was important to mention, as you will see these typically at every resort, the lift lapper. Now, lift lapping is my thing. One of my most memorable lift laps that I did would have to be a Targhee underneath the Blackfoot chair on a powder day. I think there was like 30 plus inches of snow. Nobody had skied the line directly under the chair. And as we were coming up the chair, I told my two snowboarding buddies, I'm like, dudes, we're riding this. And they're like, I don't like riding on the chair. I'm like, we're riding this. And I was literally just directly underneath the quad, just getting face shots as everybody had to sit there and watch. And that's what the lift lapper loves. A lift lapper really is a hot dogger at heart. And they love the captive audience. You're all stuck in your chairs up there on the chairlift, and watch me go, man. Like, if I'm on a chairlift and I see POW on my way up, we're hitting it. Like, anybody that rides with me knows if Adam sees POW from the lift, we're going to be skiing under the chairlift and riding the POW. And that's, you know, they're all advanced riders typically riding with me anyway, so we typically put on a pretty good show for everybody. Anybody lift lapping is going to be lawfully neutral. Like, they may still help others, but they may not. Like, if you look okay, they may just keep going because they've got a POW line that they're riding, right? Like, 10 on the list, definitely go to a neutral, good alignment chart placement, because that's our lifties. I believe that lifties, just like Groms, are also the heart of the mountain. We literally, as riders, judge mountains by lifties' attitudes, whether we realize it or not. When we come in those lift lines, the best lifties are greeters. They're natural greeters. They bring the stoke. They're like, how you doing? They help you load. If you got somebody new, you got somebody learning, you need help. They're approachable. They need to be approachable. They typically have fun personalities. Some of them are quite jokesters and humorous and like telling jokes and being entertaining. So lifties, I feel, are like such awesome people, and I love our lifties, and I love the lifties of pretty much all the mountains I go to. Lifties rock. Okay, number 11, another term that I got from Dayton's videos that just hit so hard for me, dude. Lodge mamas. Like, seriously, I'd always just called them Grom moms. Like, Grom mom had been the term that I'd used. So Grom mom, Lodge mama, but a Lodge mama is just so, that's so hit, man. That hits so hard, Dayton. I love it. So yeah, Lodge mamas, again, part of the cycle of shred, a very important part of the cycle of shred, because Lodge mamas sacrifice their own time, their very much time and money on their own part for their Groms. They're all about their Groms, man. And they're some of the best mama bears out there are the Lodge mamas. I'm telling you, like, they are putting so much into these Groms in terms of their equipment, their passes, their gear, and even just the time being out there on the weekends. Lodge mamas, 2 thumbs up. You're the best. Lodge papas, very real, but they're just not as common. I saw maybe 2 at Showdown, but you could barely walk through the Lodge mamas. It was like a standing room only rock concert to get through the lodge and the restaurant in that place. It was insane. Like, there was no tables. It was packed top to bottom. I've so many Grom moms and families. And again, another honorable mention that I consider putting on the list was the ski family. But I really think the ski family kind of falls into these groups. Like, they could be our tourist, they could be our Lodge mamas, our Lodge papas. You know, that's the ski family, and just when you see them together, they look like the ski family. So honorable mention, a possible shout out that maybe they should have had their own place on the list. But again, they can be throughout the cycle, and through anywhere in this alignment chart, you can find the various family members. So it just kind of depends, like, pick your spot, like, where are you in the family? Number 12. The morning groomer. Okay, so the morning groomer, this is one you missed, Dayton. The morning groomers, man, they are typically like you're like, how did these people even get here before everybody else? Like, some of these people may even have like their own parking spots on the mountain. Like, they probably, like, if they don't, they have spots they feel like are their parking spots. And they basically, these are the true locals. Like, morning groomers typically live really close to the mountain. Like, they may even have property on the mountain. Like, they're those people typically, because they can show up and just get that fresh morning corduroy for the first half an hour, 45 minutes, and then they're gone like a Backcountry Sigma, ghosted. You're a Carve master because you're there for the morning groomers and making those turns, because you know it's all about those fundamentals, whether you're turning on your snowboard, turning on your ski, turning on your ski bike. It's all about the mechanics and the fundamentals of the turn and the carve. Number 13, the Overstoker. no bad day, right? Like this guy's all about the stoke. Like this guy brings the stoke. The Overstoker I've placed in a chaotic good position on the alignment chart because here's why. The Overstoker can also tend to be the overdrinker. So it's a very, very slippery slope that they have to navigate when you're the Overstoker. Because you bring the stoke, you may often be the beer baron. Like I really debated giving the Overstoker his own classification, but the Overstoker may not be drinking, right? They just may be stoked. Like basically the Overstoker believes any day at the mountain's a good day, and they just bring the positive vibes. And like Dayton said, they're great to have in your crew because they keep the fun factor maxed out, and they just keep the spirit alive, and they just bring fun and camaraderie to up. And even if you just meet a random Overstoker on the chairlift, it can be an hilarious ride on the chairlift with some random Overstoker. It can be awkward but funny. So I placed the Overstoker on the chaotic good on the alignment chart because though they are good to have in your crew and they're fun and they bring the stoke to the mountain, there's just enough chaos inside that they can quickly become the overdrinker. All right, so number 14, and definitely some of the core snowboard sort of style I'm looking to emulate in this video, is the park rat. Park rats truly are the skateboarders of the ski mountain. Like in the sense that park rats I describe as style, fashion, and fun. They love to hike for laps. Like they will just happily hike up and down on a session all day long, day in, day out. Like they're stoked for that. The best park rats put on big shows, right? Like they're there to like perform for everybody. Like all the people hanging out of the park, that's their audience, much like a lift lapper. A true park rat wants to put on a show and have an audience. The best park rats create a welcoming vibe for others. Like if you're cruising into a park and you just want to check it out, see what the other riders are up to, maybe try a feature on your own. These guys make the best coaches often too. Like this is where you're going to find your Grom coach, like the 10-year-old that's going to be like, here, follow me in, I'll show you the right speed for this jump, and it's just, you'll just ride through the air. It's awesome. Again, part of the cycle of shred, I feel, in the mountains today, especially with the advent of every mountain pretty much has a park now. Like if a mountain doesn't have a terrain park, it's really doesn't make sense. Like pretty much every mountain now has a terrain park. So put the park rat as a chaotic neutral on the chart, and the reason being that part of the park culture is that thrasher skater kind of rebel mentality that's just a bit chaotic. So to have that thrasher punk mentality, there's just chaos. That's just fun chaos. It's a chaotic neutral though, in the sense that it can be bad. Like some park rats may become gatekeepers and those sort of things, and gatekeeping park rats, that is not a good thing. So it's definitely a neutral chaotic in the sense that their chaos can be good, it can be bad. It's kind of like it can suit the favor of the park rat. Again, just like all our other neutral characters on the scale, a park rat really is there for their own gratification, satisfaction. 15, the powder hound. And I've been stuck in this one for quite a while, and I don't think I'll ever not be a powder hound. The powder hound rates as a chaotic neutral. A powder hound is there for their run, their tracks, their line. Like there's no friends on a pow day, right? Like, I'm sorry you were standing at the entrance instead of dropping in. That looked amazing. Thanks for leaving it wide open, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. With a powder hound, does have a bit of chaos because they will snake a friend on a powder day in a flash. Like we want those first tracks, and those first tracks are key. And if we got to charge a gate, we got to charge a lift chair. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made as a powder hound. Now, one thing I will say too, another powder hounds have an uncanny ability to sniff out powder stashes on a mountain, even if it's not their home mountain. A true powder hound finds the powder stashes. One of my keys, and I'll share in this video as a powder hound, is when I'm on the lift, I look for other powder hounds. Typically, when I see somebody kitted in a certain way, skiing in a certain manner, like they're on a mission, basically, I know I've discovered a powder hound. Oftentimes, if you get in the lift with a powder hound and you're cool, they may, and they like you, they may even invite you to come to the pow with them. I've done it myself. Had singles on the lift with us. I was like, if you want, follow us to the pow. We'll show you where the goods are. And I've been on the receiving end too, where I've been at a mountain that I didn't know, and fellow powder hounds are like, dude, follow us, we'll show you where the goods are. And I'm just like, let's go. And we're just in the goods, in the stash, because we're all have that common love, and we're just in there bringing the stoke, and the Overstoke shows up, you know, especially when the deep pow, that's where the stoke comes. Okay, so that brings me to number 16, and I again am part of this group, the filmer. Now, the filmer can be multiple people. It could be a content creator like myself, creating content for my channel with my chesty. And like if you see me with my snow bike, I've got cameras on the handlebars and on my chest and on my skis, and it's been pretty crazy. I'm working on trying to get some pretty cool snow go footage. Now the filmer's placement on the alignment chart is a bit on the chaotic and true neutral because of the fact, the Jerry factor. An incredible amount of Jerrys and Gapers fall into the filmer category because of their obsession with wearing GoPros on their helmets and filming themselves gaping down trails. So they really do bring the filmer a bit over to the chaotic neutral versus a true neutral. They're not a true neutral because of the Gaper Jerry factor in the filmer group. Now, the filmer, the true filmer, your friend that skied down, did basically sacrificed the run so he could get in position to record you on your phone, and now that filmer is a champion of the mountain and deserves chairlift bears from the beer brand. The rope ducker, true chaotic evil. I mean, like this guy, especially if they're ducking a rope on a closed run that places others at risk. This is the true danger of a rope ducker. Now, if you're ducking a side boundary line and then jumping back up onto the groomer, that's an entirely different animal. And I'm not saying I haven't done that, but I would never do anything that put other riders at risk or put the safety of anyone else at risk. I do know when you ski out of bounds that you are no longer in a patrolled area and you are at risk. Like in this icon, this boundary marker actually looks like Lolo's Leap at Alyeska, which was one of my home mountains for a while. I skied Alyeska quite a bit, and if this is the run I'm thinking of, I've actually dropped in here. This is Lolo's Leap, I think. I'm not sure, but it's not patrolled. It's kind of right on the edge of the Zort between the north face is on the one side, and then the ski resort's kind of on the other side, and then Lolo's is just like these cliffs in the transition. I guess it's kind of facing northeast, and yeah, that, you know, you're out of bounds and it's an open boundary and you just know that you're taking the risks. These are the places you'll find the Backcountry Sigmas. I've found even like Brundage here in Idaho. I've been at Brundage when the resort opened up gates so that you could ski out of the boundary. Let's check with your mountain host and we asked, we said, we see this gate. What is this? Can we go through this? Is this okay? Or is it safe? Or we're going to endanger anybody? And he explained to us the dangers and the do's and the don'ts, and away we went, man. And we were like skiing out of bounds, just having the time of we had such a day that day, my brother and I did. It was awesome. Next on my list, and I was really excited because this is distinct from the Grom. Like many Groms, like every kid that's learning to ride is a Grom, but not every Grom becomes a shred Grom. And I feel like the shred Groms those are our future Olympians. Those are the future of our sport. Like the 10-year-old doing backflips in your terrain park, yeah, that kid could very much be winning gold medals for the U.S. Olympic team one day. Like, I mean, it's so exciting to see the progression of these youth. And again, going back to what's happening, especially like I'm a big fan of free ride, big mountain free ride. And so it's happening like this year's juniors in the World Free Ride Championship. They're mind boggling. Check them out if you haven't. And I put them as a chaotic good because they're kind of annoying in the sense that it's really easy to get jelly of them. Okay, number 19, I placed clearly top right of the lawful good of our alignment chart is the most important people on the mountain, our ski patrol. I mean, let's face it, these are the most qualified riders on the mountain. Like nobody knows the mountain better than these guys know the mountain. Nobody knows the snow better than they do. Nobody knows the terrain better than they do, or the situations better than they do. And not only that, if you get hurt and you get yourself in a situation where you need help, these are going to be the guys to come help you. So thank you for your service. Another thing I wanted to talk about too in this video is how important ski patrol is to a mountain. Like we've seen just this year in Utah, what happens if you don't support your ski patrol. And what happened in Utah this year is huge and something I'm considering making another video about. Number 20 is our ski instructor. These guys are so important. This is another one Dayton left out, and he gave them an honorable mention in the video, so shouts out for that, Dayton. But the ski instructor is part of the cyclist shred. Like Carve Dads, Lodge Mamas are often ski instructors too, right? Like they're the Lodge Papas, like they kind of get their kids started and then they get them in the race school and they get them off with the you know, in the Mighty Mites, and they're running gates and, you know, working with the other mountain instructors. But basically, whether you're teaching youth, whether you're teaching adult, thank you for your service as a ski instructor, because you're ensuring that people learn in a safe environment. I'll talk about, at the very end of this list, we're going to talk about another person type that's like the opposite of a ski instructor. And though they mean well, they are not a ski instructor. And so ski instructors, by teaching people the fundamentals and allowing them to learn the foundation that they need to then go out on their own and safely enjoy the mountain in a safe manner. So they perform a vital, vital service in a mountain's heart. Like, they are very much a heart of the mountain, our ski instructors are. And these guys, they're basically skiing around backwards all day for other people's enjoyment. All right, so 21 is a group I'm really excited about because, well, it's a new group. It's the snow biker. Wow, like, and I'm part of this group, like the snow biker. Now, first, let me say one thing we have to deal with when we're talking about ski bikes is there is bike racism. Unfortunately, I found out the hard way, being a snow goer, that those that do not snow go and ride the two ski bikes, or the ski bike yike, or the ski yike bike be yikes, the ski be yikes, those guys with the two busting their shoulders and on the two skis, yeah, no. I guess they got a thing against us on snow goes. But here's the thing. I can teach a Lodge Mama or a Lodge Papa to ride a snow go in about 45 minutes, dude. And again, we're going to skip the Jerry stage. Like, you're not going to be a Jerry. 45 minutes later, you're going to look like a pro loading on and off the lifts. You're going to be able to confidently cruise down the terrain you like to ride, what you feel comfortable riding. And there's nothing Jerry about that. Like, you will not look like a gaper. You will get on a snow go and 45 minutes later look like you've been riding the thing for who knows how long. Like, literally, that is such a game changer. And that's not going to happen with the two ski bike. And another thing is the two ski bike has not grown the sport anywhere near like the snow go has. Hundreds of resorts to snow bikers in America alone. The ski bike, yeah, no, stop. And another thing is the arrival of snow go rental fleets. For Big Sky, for example, they have entire fleets of snow goes that you can rent and have a full day instructor. Like, get an instructor, get a snow go. In the skied out days, like, the snow go is the perfect everyday all mountain beast, as to where with my skis, when I get in that chunder, it can be really hard on the knees. Number 22, the side hit standard. Dude, the side hit standard. Oftentimes, these can be Jerry's and Gapers, but, and ski families for some reason like to post up on side hits, but it is a strange phenomenon, the side hit standard. There's no doubt about it. Our alignment chart too is another one that doesn't really fall exactly in one. It's on the sides of neutral evil and lawful evil. Like, it's like the side hit standard, they're not going to duck any ropes or ski any close boundaries or break any of the resort rules per se. But, and they have the best intentions. Like, they think, and that's the reason I chose this photo for the icon. Like, they vision their stopping spot probably like this. Okay, so number 23 is the classic term, the snow bunny. Now, I doubt this term existed, like, say, before the heydays of the Hugh Hefner empire, right? Like, in the 70s and 80s, that stuff was a really big deal. So I think, you know, the pretty girl on the ski resort was just automatically referred to as the bunny. No other sport has had women at its snow front like skiing. I find these classic cool photos of just these beautiful women with these crazy skis, like leather boots and like, wait, did I just call their skis crazy? I ride Sukanas. Oh, okay. Anyway, they're crazy by today's standards, and I just think they're so cool. And I just love how the snow bunny has evolved over the years. But today's snow bunny is really chaotic evil, because this is the TikToker. This is the social influencer that's set up for her TikTok video in the most out of the in the way place, and acts like the world doesn't exist around them, for likes and follows. Like they're not there even there to ski. They may not even wear, like the attire they're wearing is not even suitable to skiing. Like they are pure chaotic. However, it's an interesting term because it's such a general term that can be defined. Pretty much any cute girl on the ski resort has always been referred to as a snow bunny in the time that I've been there. Number 24, and I'm really excited to talk about this one, the speaker guy. Let's face it, the speaker guy just wants to be heard. He wants everybody's attention, and he thinks that like his jam is the jam of choice. Whether you know it or not, that is the score that's going down. I want people to hear me coming. That's the mantra, and I preached that mantra once myself. But the truth of the matter is, the minute I'm going over, say, 20 miles an hour, I no longer hear my speaker. And it's still no substitute for the classic on your right or on the left. Now, though, sometimes you may say on your right and people go left or whatever, and it may have the opposite effect. It's still the tried and true standard that I think is better than us having to listen to your tunes. Now, if you must use your speaker going down the hill, that's fine, but keep in mind, nobody's going to get in your way typically in the lift line. And if you're crashing into people under 20 miles an hour in what speed that you can hear your speaker, then you're most likely a gaper or a Jerry and need to spend time with an instructor and work on developing those basic skill sets necessary to be able to better your days on the mountain. Okay, so number 25, I'm going to put these two together because they're really kind of both the same when I'm talking about them. There's the tourists and the rentals. Now, rentals are a lawful evil because rentals can be like, these are often where we'll find some of the best Jerrys on the mountains are going to be wearing rentals. This December showdown, as I walked by the rental shop, there were multiple rental people with their skis on their shoulders in massive crowds of people. And so we're all just like ducking and leaning out of the way of their skis as they shoulder their ski through the crowd. It's pretty funny because that's how you're supposed to carry your skis. Well, okay. Definitely lawful evil. Like they're not going to break any rules. They may ski out of control other than that one. So that's the evil. Like they don't mean to though. So it's not a chaotic evil. It's a lawful evil. It wasn't intentionally skiing out of control. They just got out of control and there's nothing they could do about it. So now tourists, again, with what recently just happened in Utah. Like literally, we're talking about a state that spent over a decade telling everybody, ski Utah, ski Utah, ski Utah. And then people spend $10,000 to $15,000 or more on their family vacations to arrive in Utah for their ski dream vacation this year, to only find that they're not skiing. They're standing in line and they may not even ski. A lot of them went home, and that's just horrible. And like I say, I'm debating making a video on this subject alone because it's such a significant thing in the industry. So tourists are very, very important. Tourists are the heart of your mountain. Tourism and those people coming to your mountain, not only are they important to the mountain, they're important to your mountain community because they eat at your restaurants. They stay at your hotels. They go to your gift shops. They go to the boutique shops. They go downtown shopping if they're not at the resort. Like, seriously, tourists are the lifeblood of a ski resort. If you don't make sure that the needs are met for your tourism and that you can adequately meet the needs of your tourists, you're blowing it. You're just absolutely blowing it. Rentals, on the lawful evil side of our alignment chart, the tourists are definitely a chaotic good. They can be chaotic, right, because they're out of town, they don't know the mountain, they don't know the etiquette, they don't know, they're tourists. There's chaos with tourists. I mean, they don't know, they're not from there, right? There's some chaos with them, but they're good. They're good, and they bring so much good to your mountain. If your mountain has tourism, good for you. Good for your mountain. It's doing something right. If people want to come to your mountain to ride, that's a good thing, dude. Okay, so I guess really I had 28, not 27, because I'm combining our tourists and our rentals into one, even though they both have different placements on our alignment charts. This is what I mentioned. And I mentioned this guy when we were talking about the ski instructor. We see these guys all the time, unfortunately, and they're a very sad thing. It's the you got this friend. Their placement on the alignment chart is a bit of neutral and chaotic evil because their intentions are good, but it's chaos. Like typically found on slopes beyond their own ability, trying to teach others how to ride or ski for the first time. And they typically need to work on the basics themselves. So that's what the you got this guy is. He's the person you see on the resort that doesn't know how to ride, trying to teach somebody else how to ride. Whew. All right, if you made it this long in the video, smash that like button. Please, 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 dude. Homie, it hits hard if you smash the like button this far in the video, okay? So, number 27 and the last is the Weekend Warrior. Now, one of the things when Dayton talked about in his video, the Weekend Warriors that Dayton was talking about, I would really classify as locals. If you're within an hour or so of the mountain, you're a local, man. A Weekend Warrior, we're talking 70 miles or more one way. Like we need at least a 3 hour, 4 hour minimum round trip drive time, then you've warriored to the mountain. And you got to do it all in the same day. Like you leave extra early for your 3 hour drive to the mountain, and then you plan on driving 3-4 hours back home at the end of the day after shredding all day. So that is what makes a weekend warrior. Now, weekend warriors may not want to show up on the weekend. Like they would prefer to be there when nobody else is there. They're also going to be most likely to chase the storms. They're true neutral. Like I've been the weekend warrior. Like I even have had season passes at places that were in excess of 70 miles from my home just because the riding was that good and I wanted to be there that often and a season pass just made more sense. So yeah, weekend warriors, if you're less than, like I say, if you're an hour to the mountain or back, if you're, 2 hour round trip or less, you're a local. That's not a weekend warrior. A weekend warrior, you have to put in the road time. You're out on the road. You're making the road less travel to get to the mountain and be a warrior. Watch this far in the video, man. Make sure to smash that like button. That hits hard. Hit the subscribe button. That hits even harder. Check out the links in the description to the Dayton's original video of the people of the ski area. Check out his channel. He's got some videos that just hit so hard, bro. I love them. So thanks for watching.